Shedeur and Shilo Sanders in the crossfire. How ego, hype, and harsh reality put Coach Prime's sons under NFL scrutiny. For most rookies, being waived or struggling in preseason is part of a learning curve. Fans usually respond with encouragement, reminding young players that the NFL is a marathon, not a sprint. But the rules of perception shift when your last name is Sanders. That name isn't just a name. It's a brand, a spotlight, and a legacy built by Coach Prime Sanders, Hall of Famer, cultural icon, and now head coach of the Colorado Buffaloes. With Shedeur Sanders battling through the Cleveland Browns quarterback depth chart and Shilo Sanders cut loose by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the spotlight has turned harsh. And this time, fans aren't cushioning the blow with sympathy. They're calling the Sanders brothers out, pointing fingers at ego, entitlement, and hype. The question hanging in the air: are Shedeur and Shilo victims of unfair judgment, or are they simply paying the price for being overhyped heirs to their father's dynasty? Shilo's fall from grace, a rookie safety's misstep. For Shilo Sanders, the line between opportunity and unemployment was already razor thin. Entering Buccaneers camp as an undrafted free agent, he faced an uphill climb, competing with Kayvon Merriweather and Rashad Wisdom for one of the final safety slots. Shilo had to be nearly flawless. Instead, his preseason turned into a nightmare. In a heated game against the Buffalo Bills, Shilo's emotions got the better of him. After being flagged, he made the unforgivable rookie mistake, throwing a punch at tight end Zach Davidson. The referees wasted no time. Shilo was ejected. Todd Bowles, never one to mince words, called the move inexcusable. Within 24 hours, Tampa Bay made it official. Shilo Sanders was waived. The decision wasn't surprising. Coaches value discipline above almost everything else from fringe roster players. And Shilo had already developed a track record. Back in 2023 at Colorado, he had been ejected for targeting. Scouts don't forget these things. Instead of viewing Shilo as a project, many evaluators began seeing him as a liability. What might have been chalked up to growing pains for another rookie instead ignited a torrent of online criticism. Fans weren't talking about potential, they were talking about ego. Shedeur's struggles. From bright start to brutal reality, Shedeur Sanders entered the NFL with enormous expectations. After dazzling at Colorado and being hyped as a future franchise quarterback, he joined a crowded Cleveland Browns quarterback room. His rookie preseason began well. Against the Carolina Panthers, Shedeur posted solid numbers: 14 of 23, 138 yards, and 2 touchdowns. But momentum evaporated a week later against the Los Angeles Rams. His stat line told the story: 3 of 6 passing, 14 yards, and sacked 5 times. For a player expected to compete for long-term starting consideration, it was a reality check. NFL scouts and coaches know rookies will stumble, but the backlash wasn't just about numbers. Fans began connecting Shedeur's uneven performance to an attitude they saw as entitlement. Social media swelled with claims that Shedeur believed the Sanders name guaranteed him a QB1 role, regardless of results. One fan summed it up harshly: "So, you think you can get away with a punch, Shilo, or act entitled for a QB1 spot, Shedeur, with subpar performances? That's not confidence, that's ego." The critique stung because it tapped into a deeper narrative, one that began not with Shedeur and Shilo, but with their father. The Deion factor, pride, persona, and the NFL backlash. Deion Sanders has always been larger than life. As a player, his swagger, charisma, and ability backed up every word. At Colorado, his persona reinvigorated a broken program, turning it into must-watch television. He dominated headlines, sold out stadiums, and drew recruits who never would have looked at Boulder otherwise. But in the NFL, the aura of primetime doesn't shield his sons from scrutiny. If anything, it invites more of it. Fans argue that Deion's boldness has spilled into his sons, not in the form of confidence, but entitlement. One fan wrote bluntly, "Daddy Deion spit in all the scouts, coaches, and owners' faces. Deion's ego was bad for business." Another piled on, "Who cares? They acted like and will get treated as desert. Nobody will miss them. For critics, the problem isn't just that Shedeur and Shilo have stumbled. It's that they entered the league with hype machines louder than their resumes. And when hype collides with poor performance, backlash is inevitable. The fan rebellion, from overhyped to over it. The Sanders brothers' struggles have revealed something bigger, a fan base fatigued by overexposure. In 2023 and 2024, Shedeur, Shilo, and Travis Hunter dominated the college football conversation. Every highlight went viral, every soundbite became news. For a while, the hype elevated Colorado and gave the program life. But just like a hit song that becomes TikTok noise, constant exposure eventually breeds resentment. Fans who once celebrated every Shedeur highlight began questioning whether they were watching genuine greatness or just well-curated marketing. One fan captured the sentiment perfectly. False. We just got overrun by the media hype all last year. Way too much hype, rarely about their ability. Another was more cutting. Nope. People overhyped in F.D. ride the Sanders. Neither are starters on anyone's teams. In other words, there's no conspiracy against the Sanders brothers. No secret NFL plot. Just a reckoning between hype and reality. Ego versus confidence. The fine line Shedeur and Shilo walk. What makes this backlash so fierce is that it centers on one word: ego. In sports, confidence is essential. Confidence drives players to take risks, recover from mistakes, and lead under pressure. But ego, when it tilts into entitlement, alienates teammates, frustrates coaches, and irritates fans. With Shedeur, the perception is that he expects a QB1 role without proving it against NFL defenses. With Shilo, the perception is that he couldn't control his emotions and cost himself a roster spot. Fair or not, fans aren't buying patience. The truth is more complex. Shedeur is a talented quarterback adjusting to the speed of the NFL. Shilo is a fiery competitor whose discipline must match his passion. But when your last name is Sanders, the margin for error is slim, and the patience of fans even slimmer. The larger lesson: meritocracy of the NFL. At its core, this isn't about conspiracy or family name. It's about the brutal meritocracy of the NFL. Performance matters. Discipline matters. Hype doesn't. The NFL doesn't care that your father is a Hall of Famer. It doesn't care how many nil deals you signed in college. It doesn't care about Instagram followers or ESPN segments. If you don't perform, you don't play. If you don't follow the rules, you don't stay. Fans may be harsh, but in many ways, they are echoing the league itself. The Sanders brothers' future will not be decided by name recognition. It will be decided by results. Where do Shedeur and Shilo go from here? For Shilo, the road back to an NFL roster begins with humility and discipline. Practice squad opportunities may surface, but coaches will demand maturity. One more slip and his NFL dreams could vanish. For Shedeur, the Browns offer both a challenge and a chance. With Deshaun Watson sidelined, the quarterback competition is wide open. But if he continues to struggle, he risks being labeled as hype without substance. A death sentence for a young quarterback. Both brothers must prove what their father always did: that confidence is nothing without production. Conclusion: legacy at a crossroads. The Sanders name guarantees attention, but it doesn't guarantee success. In fact, it might guarantee harsher criticism. For Shedeur and Shilo, the challenge ahead isn't just about football. It's about reshaping perception. They must show that they are more than their father's sons, more than media darlings, more than hype machines. They must show that they belong. Until then, the criticism will keep coming. And in the NFL, as fans have reminded them, ego gets you nowhere, performance gets you everything.